Good morning, everyone. Yeah, we'll start today's session now. Let me share my screen first. Can anyone confirm if you're able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thanks. So yeah, today since we have almost like completed Java things, basic Java things, whatever we need for our Selenium to start with. So yeah, from today onwards, we'll start on Selenium part. So what I'll do is I'll just create one new project. So most of the things is like kind of, I would say, practical things rather than wasting our time on theories and this thing. So that documentation and all, like what and all definitions, why all these things, you would get on Google or some other sources as well. But our primary focus would be on main on practical things. So I'll create one project, a Java project first of all, again, and then so I'll say Selenium training. Let me just type this. I've created a project called Selenium training, and then I'll just say finish on the perspective. I'll close all this. So here we have got a plain Java project and with an empty source folder, right? So here we would create our packages and classes for our training thing. So let me first create one package for now. So I would say this is Selenium general package. It's a something, and then a class. First Selenium class. I've created this thing, and I will just taken main method as well with us. And now here, so if you can see, we have got a main method, and just to check if everything is working fine, we'll just print our statement and we'll execute it on the console to see if we are getting the desired output. So starting a Selenium class, I would say. So I'll just execute this to check if project and this class is fine, clear with everything. So yeah, there are no errors, nothing. So we have got the output. So here we'll write our Selenium code. So basically, before we start this again, a Selenium, little brief that I would give is why Selenium and why the Selenium automation first of all. So testing, right? So generally any application, whatever we give, when a developer builds that application, we generally have to test it. So initially we start with manual testing, right? And then so initially we start with manual testing, but then once the application is kind of stable and whatever features, functionalities the developers has built and it is kind of ready to use, then those things, once manually if everything is verified, then we'll basically move on with the automation part. And why automation? So if you see, let's say there's one application, and one application, it can't be just built in one go, right? So so most of the application, most of the project, whatever it put there, so that would be like kind of huge, a big projects, right? So some takes years to build, some takes months, some takes days. So depending on how many functionalities we are implementing, what all features are available in that particular application, so the timeline varies according to that. So let's say initially there's an application wherein developer has built a login page, login functionality, and then apart from login, so after login, let's say there's another functionality called registering a user uh, functionality. That is another functionality. And inside login, let's say there is uh, create user, create people, or create a transaction. So kind of some other features are there. Now once the login is developed, so we would get a feature to test. Now login functionality is developed in so and so application, so from developers we would get what URL. So basically they would give us the URL of that application to test. And then once we have that URL, so login functionality we would test. For example, I would take one example of a sample application that I want to demo. So I'll take Orange HRM. Yeah, let's take this one only. So this is what an application, and then we have got the login page, let's say. So this manually we would test, enter some username, password, and click on login. And then the functionality would be like, if a user gives invalid username or password and clicks on login button, this message should appear, is what we test manually first time. And then again, so this is what we are doing invalid thing. What if the other positive, first of all we need to test the positive scenarios, like, so give a proper username and a correct username and a correct password, and after clicking on login button, it should give us the home screen, the logged in screen, right? So that testing we do. And then apart from this testing, we also do some invalid kind of negative testing as well, giving some invalid these things and see number of characters, all those things. Negative testing we would do it. Now login is done, tested, everything is working fine as expected. Then what's next? So after login, developer has also built another feature called forgot password. So if you click on this forgot password, the functionality would be user should be able to give uh, there should be a page wherein username, and user should be able to give his or her username, and then click on reset password, then a link or whatever feature a particular application builds, according to that it should behave. So that is another feature. Now when the developer builds this second functionality, next functionality, at that time it's not only we just have to test this reset password or this second functionality. Reason, so it we also have to test whether whatever previously was built or developed is correctly functioning or not. Because due to the second feature, next functionality, whatever it was built with with uh, with that feature in the application, we also need to make sure previous this login feature is not affected with that. So we also have to test this way. So again, login we would test, and then forgot password. After this, another feature, let's say we have got something. After login, there's some transaction. So third functionality. When third functionality is again built, we also have to again see the previous functionalities, whatever were developed, like login and forgot password. So likewise, whenever a new feature is added in the application, it's better to test the old implementation, old features, whatever were there, are working fine or not. So sometimes the code is interrelated basically with that application, right? So whenever developer kind of tends to do, if developer generally does a mistake, then let's say after, due to one particular feature, a login itself is not working. and then when you try to log in, so with correct username and correct password, if you are giving logging in, it is not logging in because developer mistakenly have done something which he shouldn't do. So that kind of testing we generally do. So manually when we test again, we also test the previous functionalities, as I said. So doing this stuff again and again manually is kind of tedious, repetitive task, right? So those repetitive things is what we generally try to avoid doing manually, and we just automate it. So automation would be handy here. Another benefit of automation here would be, so you would be testing here in one particular browser, let's say Chrome. So if your application also supports on other browsers like IE, Chrome, Firefox, Edge, all those browsers, so same thing manually what you have done in one particular browser, you also have to repeat it for on the other browsers. So this thing we can handle in automation, so we don't have to manually do all those stuff again, right? So this is why we use automation. And why now Selenium? So Selenium is kind of open source tool, what we say. So Selenium is open source. Open source in the sense free to use. There are few tools in the market as well, like other automation tools, which I would name Ranorex automation tool, Tricentis, Tosca as another automation tool, and the QTP, you might have heard QTP, UFT, things were there, right? So those were the licensed one, a paid one. But Selenium here is an open source, free to use. Just uh, what we have to do is, just like Java we have free library, right? Same way for Selenium as well, we would have that library, and then anyone can use that without needing to pay any amount, right? So that's why mostly people prefer the Selenium. And Selenium also has a huge community wherein if we are stuck with something, if we have got out or we are not able to do some stuff, so we have some form of communication. We can also do like online post our questions, doubts, and many people are aware of it. So whoever is knowing that, they might give us a solution. So uh, Selenium, open source, and then a few other things. What is there? I'll let you know. But for now, so we know why automation testing and why we are doing is Selenium, right? Next, so Selenium also supports Selenium also supports only the browser related testing, not the desktop related testing. Like Notepad, we have other desktop applications, so we cannot test that using Selenium. For that, we need to again jump on with the other automation tools. For the web-based testing, we would use if we have if you want open source, we can use Selenium, and Selenium supports multiple languages. Now here we are doing it with Java. It also supports with the C Sharp, Ruby, Python, all those things, and different browser compatibility testing. We do different browsers thing that we do, and parallel execution as well. Parallelly, if you want to execute on multiple browsers, multiple things, then that also we can do. This is, I guess, that's more than enough for us. Why we are doing this Selenium automation, and yeah, I would show you how to download those Selenium libraries. So here, let's say we have got one application, right? So in this application, the application URL is this. So for us, we have URL. Let's say this is our URL on which we want to do testing, and then username, password we already know it here, right? So that also, if you want. Testing. So first, we would take some basic scenarios what to test, or I'll show the downloads, and then we'll move on with our flow. So how to download Selenium? So as I said, Selenium is an open source, and it's kind of a library. It's not a tool, basically a library, the WebDriver APIs. So there are again many versions, previous versions of this Selenium. We had IDE, RC, WebDriver currently, which is we are working on, and then Selenium Grid. So RCID, those are the legacy, I would say, older versions, and there were some issues with that, and then not easy to use or time consuming, all those stuffs were there. But Selenium WebDriver is what currently which is updated, and that's why we are using the Selenium WebDriver. So it's a Selenium WebDriver is what basically an API wherein the packages, the classes would be there. Just like library we had, right? So these are some packages are there, and then some classes inside this. So all these things, just like Java, we also have Selenium libraries available, wherein we just have to import it in our project, and then we are good to use those classes, methods, and whatever interactions we want to do with our browser. If we just import that, and uh, we would be able to use those features. So how to download? Just go to Selenium download, let's say, and then you would have this website called www.selenium.dev. Go to this download, this section, this link, and then once you are in the downloads, you would get this page. So here you would have Selenium server grid. So basically, let us download this stable version, which is 4.5.0, which we are doing for now, and then I would what say the other things. So for now, Selenium Grid. So this would have all our required packages, required code, whatever we want, jar files. So just click on this thing. So this .jar file would be downloaded. Once we have this .jar file downloaded, then what? Then let me open this. So where is our download thing? So Selenium. So we have downloaded Selenium jar, right? Next thing, let's say I want to also download the other stuff. So other stuffs, if you see here, Internet Explorer driver is there, and some kind of bindings we have here, and Ruby, Java, Python. So here we have platforms supported by Selenium. We have these browsers, operating systems. So browsers, when you click on, you have different browser related the documentation and these things. So we have this. Let's say when let me move on with this thing. But firstly, let me customize few things, and then I'll continue sharing my screen just a while. Let me just organize few things, and then we'll do. I'm just customizing few things here on my desktop, and then I'll continue. Let me reshare my screen. Yeah, I hope you are able to see my screen. So yeah, whatever Selenium jar file we have downloaded, so I have that in one particular folder. And same way, what else I said, we also wanted to. Are you able to see my screen? Can anyone confirm, and if they are able to hear me as well?
Yes.
Yeah. So now, uh, yeah, and meanwhile, also like whoever wants the recorded videos access to their drives, so they can share their email IDs, and then you would get that access. So for previous sessions, whatever we have done, and then even this Selenium thing. So whoever is interested, they can share their Gmail IDs or whatever email you use, and then we would provide you the drive access, the Google Drive, where we have stored those recorded videos. So yeah, here we have got this browser, and then why? Okay, this browser part I would tell later why we need to do this. So for now, we what we have done is we have downloaded one jar, Selenium jar, and that I have, let's say, inside this training, I would create one folder called jar, and that jar I would add it in here. So I've got this right. Next thing, in our project, what is our Shiva Shankar, can you mute yourself, please? Yeah, thank you. So, how to uh, do automation now on any browser that I have set? So, what our requirement is? First, let's get some clarity on what we want to automate for now. So, we have an application which is Orange HRM, and then here on the login page, our first step is we have to navigate to this URL. So, or else I'll create one separate class. Class. I'll take this main method in the first cycle. So here I would write those steps, what we want to do. So first step is, let's say we want to open application, open Chrome browser for now, open browser. And then our second step would be uh, open this URL, open this URL. Then the third step would be what? So here we would enter this enter username, enter password, and fifth step would be to click on login. So enter username, that's it. And then fourth step would be we do enter password. Fifth step is what? Click on login button. And then sixth is what next we should get a logged in screen and all. For now we just let's perform only this five steps. So we are clear with the manual thing what we want. So before we perform any automation task, so it's better if we have manual understanding of what we want to do, and then we can just automate those stuff clearly. So here our first step is what? To open a browser. So open any browser we can do. For now we are using Chrome, let's say. So how would you generally do that? So the syntax for that would be, so first thing, open Chrome browser, right? So this I'll just comment and write it. So open Chrome browser and then open URL, right? Is our second step. Let's say only these two steps for now I want to do. These are two steps which we want to perform. So how to open a Chrome browser? So the syntax generally here is we have WebDriver and give some name, object creation, just like we did it in our Java classes, right? So how to create an object? So let's say for WebDriver here is an interface. So we are creating object, so we can give any name. Generally I prefer giving driver. So WebDriver driver equals to new keyword we use, and then the class, so which object you want to create. So I want to do it for Chrome browser. So for that syntax is Chrome driver class. So in Selenium packages, if you see, you would understand why we are creating objects of this. So once we have done this, that's it. So save it and then just mouse over on those things. So if you see, we don't have any suggestions here. Here it says, do you want to create a class or project fixer? So now this is what your Java project, right? Your Java project, and your Java project doesn't have what libraries related to your Selenium. We have downloaded it, but we have not imported. We have not linked that libraries, the jar files, with our project. So how to do that? So basically, to import any jar files, you just have to right click on the project, go to build path, and then configure build path. So if you click here, you would get a window. In this window, you have libraries section, right? So here libraries project. So for now, if you see here, we only have JRE, Java related libraries. So if you see here, we have Java related libraries and not the Selenium. So how to do that? So click on, let's say, this class path, and then you would get an option here called add external jars. So click on this add external jars and then import it. So for now what I would do is, instead of keeping the jars outside somewhere in other packages, I'll just copy this folder, and here in our project itself I would create one folder would be what resources, I would say. Some folder I've created basically, and whatever files, project related files or whatever it is there, I would just add it in here. And in resources we have what I want is our jars, right? So I just copied and added that jar. So if you see, jar is here. We can keep somewhere outside as well, but again when we import we get that link which we don't want. Only thing is, it is good to organize things properly. So I generally prefer adding all the project related stuff, files and whatever it is. Good practice is to kind of keep those in inside project itself and not somewhere outside. So here I've got this jar. Now this jar I want to import it. How would we do? Right click, go to build path, configure build path, go to your libraries, click on this class path, add external jar, and then from here you have this Selenium project. Now just navigate to this path. So I have this Selenium thing, and then resources is what folder I have created, and then jars. Yeah, Selenium server. So this one jar is enough. So there are other uh, Selenium libraries as well, other jars also. If you see here, so Java you have. So this one, different uh, jar files you would find it here. But then when you are taking this internally again for few other functionalities, few other features, we again need different packages, different things. So this Selenium server would provide us all that packages at one place. That's why we are downloading this one. Else what we can do is we can come here, we can uh, check the Java thing and click this, and then even this would give us some zip file inside that. Again, some jars would be there, but that jars again might not be sufficient. Again, we might have to do something else. So for that reason, it's better to just take this Selenium server thing, do it, and that one jar is enough. So select that jar and say open. As soon as you say, so you would get this thing uh, imported. And now let's say apply. So as soon as you apply, you see here you have only JRE system, only one library, right? As soon as I say apply, if you see, you would get referenced libraries. And I'll say apply and close. So you would get referenced libraries here. Inside reference libraries, whatever jar we have done, and what this jar contains, as I said, packages again. So n number of packages are there here, what the Selenium guys have already written. And then in these packages, again, we would have classes, some classes. Likewise, if you see org dot Apache is OpenQA, Selenium, DevTools. So So there are n number of packages here. You don't have to go this deep. I'm just showing like once we import it, we would get uh, this thing. Chrome, Chromium. You see here, Chrome driver, this thing, Chrome options, all these classes we get here. And so if you see one of that class, so basically we won't unable to see it here. But yeah. So once we have this, what we'll do is I'll just move on. So we got that reference libraries, and now as soon as we got this, now if you come here, just mouse over on this. Oh, why are we not getting? Just a second. Let me see. Configure build path, and then sorry, class. I guess this might not work. In the module path, we'll try to add external jar. This thing, Selenium, apply, close. What is that? Why are we not getting? Just close and open again. Let me again create one new project, Java project. Let's finish with this build path, configure build path. Add external JAWS and add this. Once we have imported here, we need to get this suggestions. So I'm not sure what's happening. I'll just check it out. Meanwhile, generally going forward, we won't be even in general uh, companies when you are working. We won't be doing this stuff again. Like we generally use Maven project, and in Maven project we have a POM file, and we will just give the dependencies over there. But I just wanted to show you this a general thing as well. Not sure why it's not showing up here. I'm missing something. Okay. Why is it showing question mark? Is some or refresh? Okay, so I guess I might have not refreshed it. That's why. Let me redo it. Build path, configure build path. I'll remove this for now. Apply, close. And then wherever I have downloaded this previous thing, I'll try to keep this path. Yes, apply, Chrome, Why are we not getting the suggestions? I see it here. Sorry. So import or dot yes, then open QA. No, it's not accessible. So I think there is some issue with the jar. See whatever. Is Selenium Java. So I'll paste it here. Extract. Import the things. I'll try to import the build path, configure build path, remove this, and then add jars, stop this, and come here and take this one. See, we have all these jar files open, and we have other files. Add it, apply, apply and close. So, fixes Chrome driver cannot resolve to a type. Now there's something. We have got this one. So it's detecting kind of late. Let me see what has happened. So here I've imported that jar files. Now if you just mouse over, see you get an import statement saying you need this class from org.openqa selenium chrome. So just select this, so that error would go, and then that import would be coming from this one. And similarly for WebDriver, just mouse over, you would get this option. And as soon as we have got this, these two import statements would be done. Let me just remove this from one of those. Yeah. So first statement, what we have done is open this Chrome browser, right? Now this thing we have imported. Once, as soon as we have imported, now if you try to execute it, let's say, so this statement should give us the Chrome browser open. And if I just say right click and run, it should open our Chrome browser. But you see, we would get an error here. And what that error would be? So it says no class that found open or Chrome file. So this thing here, we are getting uh, the error as expected, because for this Chrome driver, again, we have our Chrome, right? Whatever we downloaded in our this thing. So just to check the version of what Chrome we are using, go to your help, this thing about Chrome. If you see, it would kind of update it, and we have version called 106. So we want that option, that browser, so whatever version we are using, and that 106 version is what, as I said previously, we had this browsers in our selenium.dev page. So just navigate to that particular section called browsers, and here you would have which browser you want to use. So we basically have to download that particular browser from here. So you would have option for Chrome here. So just go to that Chrome section, click on this documentation, and then these are not loaded properly. Yeah, yeah. Okay. So we have got this downloads, and we get this versions here. So uh, just see all download version here. Click on that downloads, and here you would have versions. So which version, whichever version you want to download, just select that. So my version was 106. So yours might be something else. So if you are using some other, your browser is some other version and you have downloaded some other browser Chrome driver other version, then when you try to execute, you would also get errors, a different errors again. So that one type of error, one type of browser version you have, and you got while executing you are using some other, so it's not compatible basically. So to avoid that error, we generally have to do the Chrome driver, whatever we have the Chrome browser. So here I have 106, just click on this 106, and then here you would have these options, like for which machine you want to do, whether for Windows or Mac or for Linux, we have these things. So since I'm using Windows, so just click on Windows, and as soon as you click on Windows, you would get that Chrome driver.exe. So a zip file would be there. So this zip file, when you extract it, you would get Chrome driver dot an application exe, just like other uh, applications which you download, you would get exe files, right? So same way for this Chrome driver, when we do this, we would get Chrome driver.exe file. So similar way, we also have to do for other browsers. So what are our other browsers? Here, let's say for Firefox, you want to do. So go to this documentation, and then here again check the Firefox version. So Firefox, on Firefox, if you want to do. So I don't have Firefox installed here, but yeah, Firefox, if you have that, then for Firefox internally it uses Gecko driver, and then based on that version, what you have to do is here click on this Gecko driver release. Here you would have this latest versions. So from this, let's say if you have that version compatible, so this version you just scroll it down, and here under assets you would get these things. So for Windows, do you want to download, or for Mac, Linux, this thing. So so let's say if we are using the Firefox for 64 bit version, so Windows, click this, and then that uh, again a zip file would be downloaded. And if you extract that, then you would get Gecko driver. For Firefox, we get this Gecko driver.exe file. The same way for other browser, again Edge, let's say Edge, click on this documentation, and here you would have all these things. I would open Edge here. So different browsers, if you want, you can do it this way. So go to about Microsoft Edge. I just want to check what version it is using, and then in this version I can see 106, this version, right? So I can copy this version as it is, and then come to this here, say Control F, paste that version, and see which one it is pointing. So it is this one, right, version. And then we have all this. So from all this, for what which is our compatible one. So we are using 64-bit browser Microsoft Edge. So for Edge, come here, 64-bit you have, just click on this. So you would get that thing, and we can extract this, and then we'll get uh, again Microsoft Edge driver .exe file. The same way for other browsers, yeah, if you want to try, just give it a try. You can download it, what, for whichever browsers you want to automate on, and then once you have that, I'll show in the next class how to resolve the errors, and then after importing, how to open Chrome browser, how to open any URL, and then whatever steps we manually thought of doing it, I would write the code to automate these things. So yeah, with this I'll just stop here. And yeah, if anyone have any doubts in general, what we were focusing, we are just looking in how to download that jar files and how to get the browsers for execution. So we have got things ready. Next class, properly I would create different package, different classes, and then how to open Chrome browser, how to open Firefox browser or the other Microsoft Edge, this browser, and different browser we do, and then URL, opening of URL, and then how to interact, how this generally Selenium would interact with our code would interact with the browser thing. So those things I would tell in the next class. Yeah, meanwhile, if anyone have any doubts, they can ask. Can someone confirm if about downloading this Selenium jar files and browsers or clear?
Something it's confused because of error,
Because of which
lagging
which
process.
sorry?
While saying some type of errors has occur, right? I mean,
Uh, you mean while download?
yes, yes, yes. I
No.
will
So
see recording video. I think it will be clear for me.
okay. Yeah. So yeah, in case it's only thing what I want you guys to focus on is how to download the Selenium jar files. So you have to come here and then downloading, right? So for now
Yes,
we'll
yes.
just take this uh, Selenium jar file, click on it, you would get some jar, and then for browsers, go to your browser section, and then whichever browser you want to automate on, for example Chrome, just select this and then download whichever version of your Chrome browser is. So that download, when you do, you would get a zip file. I would show that you can extract, and that you would have a .exe file. What basically I am looking for. So if you have these things ready, then in next class I would show these things again, importing in how to import, and then what type of like what lines of what would be the syntax for opening this, and different browsers if you want to do. So I'll tell that in detail again. Only thing is this again I won't show about downloading of this browser, not in detail. I would show it again basically, but still not as detailed, like go to this website, do this, what is that purpose, which jar we want to focus on. So these things is what I just want you to know for now. From
Yeah.
tomorrow onwards, I will tell what how to do all this stuff. So this stuff you again I would repeat it for tomorrow if
Okay,
things are not
okay.
clear. But yeah, meanwhile, any other questions, anything else?
No, no, from my side, no.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so we have already got that uh, number posted in our chat, and then whoever is interested, they can ping their email IDs on that number, and then we'll provide you the access to the recorded sessions.